10 years. That is how long I've waited for Final Fantasy Versus 15. That. Originally directed by Tetsuya Nomura, Final Fantasy XV was initially announced in 2006 as Final Fantasy Versus 13, a dark action RPG spin-off of FF13. Nomura, best known as the character designer for Final Fantasy VII and director of Kingdom Hearts, left development on Final Fantasy Versus 13 in 2013 due to, quote, changes in development structure. Hajime Tabata, former director of Crisis Core, took the call, and the game was rebranded as Final Fantasy XV. So, 10 years of development time, and 2 major directors from Square, the main question is, was Final Fantasy XV worth the wait? What, you think I have the answer to that? Well, it's a pretty subjective thing, to be honest with you. You begin the game as you, Prince Noctis Lucius Caelum, and your royal posse are leaving for your marriage to the Oracle of the Land, Lady Lunafreya, in what else but your majesty's royal pimped out ride, the Regalia. A sports car. Look, I know it's a fantasy game, but let's have dope sports cars. And since you're a prince and you're rich, you have the best car, which immediately breaks down. So the game truly starts with you and your posse, who also happen to be your best friends, pushing your busted up ride to the local mechanic Sid and his granddaughter Cindy, who sends you on a quest as your flat broke from the repairs. And I know what you're thinking. Dave, Sid is in just about every Final Fantasy game, and you have to mention that, and you have to make fun of the fact that usually he's a pilot, some cool inventor, or an airship designer, and now he's just a car mechanic. But I think you're missing the big picture here. Mainly that, why is Prince Noctis broke? He's the prince of a kingdom where they can afford a sports car like this. What? So anyways, this all serves as your introduction to the world of FF15 and the characters within. As the Prince of the Land of Lucius, Noctis has the special unique power to conjure magical weapons, and can not only do so on the fly in battle, but also warp around to various spots on the battlefield in order to both get to safety and dish extra damage to enemies. He also loves fishing, because apparently every Japanese game has to have some sort of fishing minigame.
Talk about backseat fishing.
Ignis is essentially the dad of the crew. He knows how to set up camp, cooks meals for everyone, and drives the car. His skill is cooking, and the more he does so, the better recipes he'll be able to concoct. Kill a monster and get his sweet, sweet monster innards to gobble up?
That's it!
What's what?
I've come up with a new recipe.
I could taste test for you.
He also acts as the group healer in battle, with most of his actions being support-related. Gladiolus, or Gladio, is essentially your bodyguard. He's headstrong and overall the alpha of the crew. His attacks are the most powerful in battle, but most importantly, he's down to make a dick joke.
Puny just like yours.
Hey.
Finally, we have Prompto, who's the black sheep of the group. He's not an amazing fighter or skilled with support, but came to be a part of the crew by being Noctis' best friend. Prompto is the boisterous joker whose skill is being the annoying one who takes selfies all the time. This is a skill you have to unlock. Unlock! Fuck! I can't do it yet! So, with the regalia fixed, it's off to your wedding. I just tapped the curb and my regalia basically exploded? This is the worst POS car I've ever seen. Fuck it, I'm walking. Oh, he's okay. So fine, we'll drive our POS into Golden Quay, the location of the ferry, so you can make it to Noctis' wedding on time. Here you run into some eccentric, goofed up dude named Arden, who laments,
"The ceasefire's getting us nowhere."
As it would turn out, Noctis' hometown you've been traversing, Lucius, has been at war with the military state of Niflheim. Niflheim has been aggressively expanding, and the one thing keeping Lucius safe is a magical barrier known as the Wall. Creative name, I know. Which the King of Lucius, or Noctis' dad, has been keeping intact. The Oracle Lunafreya, who Noctis is being wed to, is from an area controlled by Niflheim, and the wedding probably a big reason for the ceasefire. Meanwhile, Niflheim royals will be meeting with your father during the time of your wedding. So, with the little story knocked out, get it? See what time to get married. What's that? This cat needs help. Look, I know I'm running late for my wedding, but this cat needs some fish, damn it! This is critical! Time to go fish, camp out for the night, get it cooked up into a dish for the cat, and finally... I'm sure Lunafreya won't mind if I'm another day late to her wedding. Resting for the night as the fairy prepares, you wake up to discover that Niflheim's friendly talk with your father was actually an invasion, and the Crown City Insomnia, your hometown, has been completely destroyed by Niflheim and your father along with it. So, the wedding's still on, right? I bought the couple a gift and all. Also, apparently both you and Lunafreya have been pronounced dead. With the king dead, your new mission is to claim your power as king and become the new protector of your people by traveling around to various royal tombs of your forebears and getting power from each. This will take you to your first dungeon of the game, and where you'll discover an important aspect to the game. Namely that, the dungeons are awesome! Some of the most fun I had in FF15 was traversing through the various dungeons, and fortunately, as most of the 13 royal arms can be found in a dungeon, that means there's a decent amount of them. They all involve a level of exploration, with each one managing to feel unique, with different environments and puzzle elements to them. After you find your first one, you'll be thrust headfirst into the war, as you get a cell phone call telling you to wipe out a Niflheim base that's been constructed. See that? Using a cell phone in a cave? Now that's the true fantasy of the game. Similar to other Final Fantasy games, not only is there an element of magic, but also science fiction, as invading the bases will involve using chain guns and fighting mechs. What is this? Titanfall? Oh, and the boss of the first base, Loki, gets a special cutscene and introduction before you destroy him, as if he were a big deal and important to the story. Because you remember, right? Loki! We met him, yeah, we never met him before. Who are you and why are you important? You see, while I really love a lot of elements of FF15, the storytelling is like this at times. What I mean is, incoherent. It's fucking incoherent. More importantly, we do get a brief cutscene of the evil dudes from Niflheim, giving us a little glimpse into who the enemy is. So, back to something I do understand. You head to Lestalem to meet up with Iris, Gladio's little sister and friend of the crew who has a tip on where another royal arm is thanks to their friend Jared. Collecting the royal arms, that I understand. Going on a date with Iris, that I Wait a second. I feel like Prince Noctis was supposed to be getting married. Oh, we got ourselves a little love triangle! Noctis is supposed to be getting married to Lunafreya, but you discover he hasn't seen her in 12 years, and it's more of an arranged marriage. Hence, he never acts too excited anytime his friends ask him about it.
How does it feel now that it's finally happening? Fine, I guess.
Which is understandable and good writing. Meanwhile, his childhood friend, Iris, has a huge crush on him, and hanging out with her makes you question if she wouldn't be the best choice. So much drama! Beyond getting the royal arms, Lunafreya starts creating covenants with the 6 gods of the world whose favor you'll need to earn in order to get them to help you fight against Niflheim. The first of these is Titan, who the mysterious figure Arden decides to help you access by getting through Empire roadblocks. But as you start the trial of the Titan, Niflheim starts attacking him. So you help them by also attacking him and murdering a god. Whoops. Which gives you the mark of the Archeon, a symbol of Titan's favor. Wait. As it turns out, Titan's trial was having you best him in a fight, or murder him, or whatever. So, right, he likes us now. Okay then. In his rage, you nearly die, but are saved by Arden, who turns out to be the Chancellor of the Empire in Niflheim. You know, the place that completely obliterated your hometown and father and you're currently warring against. This is some tricky shit. More importantly though, they steal the regalia. Because this is war, damn it, and we need sweet sports cars. Meaning it's time to get the regalia back by breaking into one of the Empire's bases and wreaking havoc. So in other Final Fantasy games, you were breaking into a base to receive an airship. You know, something really hard to build and a one-of-a-kind machine. In this Final Fantasy, you're breaking in to get your car, even though cars are everywhere. We need the regalia very specifically, damn it! The Empire's trying to steal our set of wheels, damn it! Because it's so badass and they want a cool ride, but it's ours, damn it! Damn it! Nobody takes my ride. With your ride back in store, you meet back up with Iris to decide what to do next, only to discover Jared has been murdered by the Empire! Remember that old butler who briefly gave us a tip on the Royal Arms? Remember him? Because he's dead! No! Iris and crew reminisce about their lost comrade as you decide to head across the sea to Altissia and the home of another god, Leviathan, and where Lunafrail will perform another covenant so you can gain Leviathan's favor and power. Hold up! More importantly, a random flying Imperial fortress is landing in Lucius, and in order to avenge Jared's death, it's time to infiltrate it and destroy it.
Delivering justice for Jared.
For Jared! For Jared! For Jared! For Jared! And with the base destroyed, you're free to continue onwards to the coast and head for Altissia. Or anything you want to do, like finding this man some vegetables. For Jared! For Jared! FF15, at least up to this point, is an open-world game allowing you to veer off and explore Lucius at almost any point in the game. You can take on side quests, which are primarily just fetch quests, go on monster hunts for cash, or just explore and find various crafting items while stumbling upon random dungeons. Dungeons where it turns out you should be level 50, and I'm level not, so I need to get the hell out of here! And weirdly enough, this ends up being what's so charming about the game. While it takes away from the main story, as you can do whatever you want without focusing on the emphasis of the plot, it allows you to truly discover the characters. It ends up feeling like you're on a road trip with a group of best friends, and the writing for them is surprisingly strong as you'll grow to truly care about them. Noctis is the sultry one. Ignis just cares about taking care of everybody in this fatherly way. Gladio pokes fun of Noctis with friendly jabs as he helps Noctis woo his sister with flowers, because he just wants her to be happy. You also learn to care about Iris, as you end up spending time traveling with her in your party and witness her having fun joking with everyone and fitting in. Meanwhile, Prompto feels unworthy of the group and is just doing his best to fit in, all while gushing over his love for Cindy.
Oh, great garage, home to our goddess of the gears. Thank you.
That the prince I see?
Cindy?
While most of the side quests are stupidly mundane and are a huge flaw, it's actually kinda relaxing driving around hearing everyone banter as you listen to OSTs from previous Final Fantasy games in your car. And occasionally, you are tasked with stepping inside a massive dungeon, where it turns out collecting the Royal Arms has been relegated to a side quest, and that's it! I've come up with a new recipe.
Hey Dave, we gotta get back to filming.
Not now, Matt. I'm making stove-roasted toast. Continuing the main quest will lead you to needing to find Mithril in order to fix and hop on a boat. Gladio leaves the party to take care of some business, leaving the three of you to find Mithril without your powerhouse. But don't worry, while the Empire is blockading off the area you can find this, for some odd reason, Chancellor Arden decides to help you again, and enlists Aranea, also seen in that intro cutscene, to also help you out. Who you know is important, because she's attractive. I'm not joking. This is how you can tell if someone's important or not. Everybody who's important looks like they came straight out of an anime and has amazing hair, whereas every other character in the game looks like a normal human being. Because looking like that is preposterous, right? Right? Am I right? You learn through Aranea that the Empire's been utilizing demons to be their Magitech soldiers, and they've apparently been harvesting the monsters from sites like this. Also, not everyone in the Empire is happy with the way things have been going lately, like said use of demons, including herself. The dungeon the Mithril can be found in is a fun romp filled with multiple traps, a sprinkling of exploration, and some more great dialogue.
Oh, spacious. There's so gonna be a big nasty here.
See, this is what I'm talking about. The game is surprisingly self-aware at times with gaming tropes, and has the characters poking fun at this. That is, of course, except for when it doesn't. Like right after this mission when instead of just hopping on the boat with your Mithril, instead you decide to help out with the power plant crisis all the way back in Lestalem. And why? For Jared? For Jared! For Jared! Here, a mysterious hunter helps Noctis out with fixing the plant.
Anyway, place is crawling with demons.
Wait a sec. You sound familiar.
Save the talk. We got hunting to do. Now, if we're done with the introductions.
This is clearly Gladio! They've been friends for years! I've been playing this game for 20 hours and even I know this shit! Jared would be ashamed. With this side mission complete, you can finally actually head out to Altissia. And before I do, I should probably warn you that this is where I'm about to get into some major spoilers. So I'll say this first. I love the game. It's stupidly flawed, especially through the second half I'm about to get to, and the storytelling is crap, but it ends up feeling like a grand road trip with your friends with some incredible dungeons and great music. So I'm down with that, but it's not everyone's cup of tea, and not everyone will be able to see past the flaws. Like, as we head to Altitia and the spoilers. Altitia is the video game equivalent of Venice, as it was based off of Venice, and a gorgeous city to explore. It's also the location of Leviathan, who Lunafreya is making a covenant with. Luna believes you can win the Leviathan's favor, and Noctis fails miserably. Meanwhile, Luna's weakened by trying to summon Leviathan, and Arden takes advantage by stabbing her and basically killing her. What? You know, Chancellor Arden, who had been helping you the entire game even though he was a part of the Empire. That guy. Luna then uses the last of her Oracle powers to turn Noctis into a Super Saiyan. And no, I'm not joking. He can now fly and is crazy powerful, breaking pieces off of Leviathan. Although doing so tires him out, he collapses and passes out after finally defeating Leviathan and winning her favor. So remember how I said the writing was brilliant because Noctis didn't seem too excited about his wedding with Lunafreya? Remember that fun moment in the show when things seemed great? Well, now, after finding out Luna was murdered by Arden, he suddenly falls in love with her and goes crazy upset, moping and brooding to the point that everybody fucking hates him as they travel to Niflheim to get a crystal back that the Empire had stolen. Which I failed to mention before because even though it's super important, it's really not mentioned that much. The game also completely shifts as the rest of it takes place with you traveling to Niflheim via train. Also, while you were off fighting the Leviathan, Ignis was somehow attacked in the eyes while keeping the Empire at bay and is now blind. So the guy who is effectively your dad can no longer cook, no longer drive, and now hobbles around on a cane anytime you try to go on a quest with him. Which was genuinely depressing. You'll have to watch Ignis attempt to attack enemies and fall over. After learning to care about him so much, it's brutal to see. You actually find yourself reminiscing about the good old days you were having with your buddies in the car and how great those times were. And while things seem like they can't get any worse, Arden starts randomly appearing in your train, stopping time for everyone but you and fucking with Noctis. So he went from helping you for no reason to fucking you for no reason. With you, fucking with you. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised at this point. He also now has the power to change appearances and manages to trick Noctis into hitting Prompto off of a moving train. He also turns out to be immortal. There's that too. So all of this eventually leads you to Niflheim, where the Regalia somehow survives multiple explosions, even though tapping a curb blew it to pieces, and into Chapter 13. Which I bring up for a reason. This chapter is infamously bad, so much so that the game's current director, Hajime Tabata, is working on a free patch to make the chapter more fun. But, as it stands, you spend around 3 hours traversing a nearly empty Niflheim tower as Arden mocks you non-stop while you search for a captured Prompto. You also discover there was a plague known as the Star Scourge that swept through Niflheim once Arden came and introduced demons into the Magitech army. This caused the people to disappear and apparently turn into demons, including the king himself, I guess, because that's his clothes on his throne. Which is also a theme all of a sudden. Every major antagonist from the Empire, outside of Arden, is suddenly dead. Let's take a look at the important figures that you'd rightfully imagine you'll be finding out more about from a cutscene super early in the game. Evil King, never seen again. Aranea joins our side early on. Ravis dies off screen, until he becomes a demon zombie later, but for all intensive purposes, dead. These important looking evil dudes? Yeah, I have no idea. Storytelling at its finest. Okay, to be fair, the Evil King turned into the Demon Forest that you do fight, but I had no idea and had to look that up. After you do find Prompto, you'll finally reach the crystal, which is supposed to save the world from the Star Scourge Arden has been causing on everybody and stop the evil. And it sucks you in until it pops you out 10 years into the future. No, really, you just sort of skip ahead 10 years. You also discover Bahamut in the crystal, who informs Noctis will have to sacrifice himself in order to defeat the immortal Arden, a life for a life. Which would be emotionally impactful if the game didn't shoot you 10 years into the future. At this point, everyone has basically moved on with their life, living in a ruined Lucius where they fight off demons to survive. But you manage to reunite with your now older crew. See, they have facial hair now, so they must be older. And finally return to Insomnia where Arden awaits. Noctis elects to face Arden on his own, knowing what he's going to have to do, leaving you with a moment to take one photo with you to your grave that encompasses the memories of your journey. That's a good one of everyone. Or this one with Iris, who's completely forgotten at this point in the game like she never existed. Got it! This is the one.
Then it's settled.
The memories. So, it's time for the final showdown with Arden, which turns out to be pretty easy as you can spam healing items. This leads to a Super Saiyan Phase 2 fight, and then a final battle with both of you stripped of your powers. Arden, who's still immortal, returns to his spirit world where Noctis joins him, committing suicide to end both the Star Scourge and Arden's reign of terror once and for all. You're then treated to a final vision of Noctis and Lunafreya, reunited in death, finally looking over the photo of your journey together. See that certificate of completion? You thought I was joking about this being my photo, but it ain't no joke! So, why did Arden do everything he did? Well, you discover near the end of the game that Arden is actually part of the Kalim royal line, the same line as Noctis. He was apparently chosen by the Crystal to save humanity from the Star Scourge, but the Crystal deemed him not worthy and spat him out. So, in spite, he helps Noctis become the Crystal's champion so he can settle the grudge he has with the Astrals. In other words, the game is really about Arden's row with the Astrals, and you're sort of just a pawn in his battle. Which would be great if it were explained better! But while the second half of the game falls apart, the endgame content holds up, with plenty of secrets to discover, giant mega bosses to fight, and more. The game truly is flawed, but I honestly couldn't put it down. I was always looking forward to playing it, and even when I finished the main story of the game, I was still excited to play the endgame content. So, if you're on the fence about playing it, do it for Jared! For Jared! For Jared! Oh, and for her defeat, you'll get the gold ring, where you actually have to start paying attention to the tediously long item descriptions. God, what is this, a fucking book? Zera Innocentius? Let me show that for you. Zera Innocentius? This dude's name is Zero Innocence. Because I don't have hair like that. So beautiful. Alright.